Mac Buckley here with the UCCS Athletic Network. Here we have head coach Lynn Plett of your women's basketball team. Hey, coach, coming off a big couple wins this week, and you went 2-0. How's that set the tone for the overall season?
Oh, it's a great way to start, obviously, compared to the opposite. I mean, coming back as opposed to being 2-0, if you come back at 0-2 or 1-1 even, you come back with some disappointments, obviously. And not that we didn't have some areas that we definitely need to shore up and improve in, but it's always nice when you can play and compete and still come out on top, and that's obviously the goal every time you get on the court, is to come out on top on the scoreboard, and we reached those goals. We didn't necessarily do all the things that we wanted to do correctly in order to get that, but the girls played hard. They got after it. I think we've made some good improvements defensively. Still have to make some more, but all in all, it was a really good weekend for us to come back. It makes the road trip, 8-hour road trip back, a lot easier.
Hey, Coach, you had several players stepping up in that game. You were able to play your entire bench, it looked like. Is that going to impact your system, just knowing that you have that deep bench to play all the players this season?
Yeah, it definitely will. I mean, it's always an advantage, especially at this level. I think a lot of times the difference between, in my opinion, the difference between Division I and Division II, especially honestly, the lower half of Division I schools, I don't know if there's that much difference in ability and skill and actually physical athleticism, so to speak, from the lower Division I's to the better Division II programs. And so that to me is the difference a lot of times is that at Division I you have a little bit more depth sometimes, that there that 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th player are usually better than maybe some of the lower divisions teams on the bench. And we've got an advantage there, I think, because I think our 6, 7, and 8, I don't even know who that 6, 7, and 8 is yet, or 9 or 10. It goes all the way down. And so we have a luxury in a sense of having the depth that we have here, and when we practice, it's like I can put a group together and I can put another 5 out on the court against them, and it's going to be pretty even on a consistent basis in practice, and that's not a lot of teams have that.
And Coach, and that just is so great. I mean, as far as being able to work that entire bench, as far as knowing that you won't know essentially who to start sometimes, you can change it up and give the teams different looks. And so talking about this weekend and those things that you'd like to improve on, we talked about turnovers kind of being a big factor. What are some things that you're doing this week as far as in practice and in film to help prevent those turnovers from being as big of a factor this upcoming weekend?
Well, one thing we're trying to do today, and we're watching some film today, and so I think when you make a mistake, that you got to learn from it, and if you don't learn from it, you're going to continue to make the mistake. So we need to basically visualize it, and so we're going to try to do that first and foremost, to try to show them, okay, where could you have made that pass as opposed to where you tried to make that pass, and maybe you dribbled into traffic here when you probably should have gone a different direction. And so if we can show them some of those things on video, that can be helpful. And then obviously hopefully that transitions into on the court to where they actually implement that then when they play. And so that's a little bit more in their hands than it is in my hands. I can point it out and kind of instruct them and kind of help them see where they should go and where they should make their decisions instead of maybe where they have been making the decisions in order to cut those turnovers off. But it really comes down to them being able to cut those down.
And that also has to do with, sounds like, the freedom that the girls have with this system that they're running. Really quick, you also just came off that 2-0 victory on the road. It's kind of important to start the season off with those wins on the road. Now you're heading down to Texas. You're tipping off against Midwestern State Saturday night. That's really going to be a big game, knowing that they're 2-0 as well. Couple teams now with the start of the season able to get those 2 big wins. Just really setting the tone, going down to Texas. What's going to be the key for the success in that first game?
Well, again, we have to do what we do well. and that's the most important thing. That's the thing I have control, or we have somewhat control of, is what we do offensively, what we do defensively, and we can try to get prepared as well as we can. But it's the most important thing is that we can function well within our own system, and that's going to be the important and most important thing that we try to do. Midwestern has got some transfers in that they're playing, that they played quite a bit in the last weekend, so their personnel is kind of foreign to us as far as not knowing exactly what they do, as opposed to playing conference teams where you play against them every year. And Texas women's had a really good season last year, and they have a number of good players back this year too. So again, it's the next 3 or 4 days is my job, and Liz and I together are trying to put together what we think we need to do as far as matchups go, and how we match up against them, and what we can do to kind of take advantage of potentially some of their weaknesses, as well as try to take advantage of some of our strengths.
And Coach, just taking it one game at a time, capitalizing on those strengths that you have and some of their weaknesses, just doing some more scouting and as far as film goes. Is there anything that you can see yourself doing differently, say in the Texas women's game versus in the Midwestern game?
Well, not at this point, honestly, because I really don't know. I think if we look at what happened this last weekend, when we were there the first night and played Newman, and then Regis played against Oklahoma Christian, then we were able to watch Oklahoma Christian the night before, and so we learned quite a bit from that, and we made some adjustments defensively and because of their personnel, and that's one of the things that I thought our ladies did a really good job of, is we were focused on a couple of their players who scored a lot of points that first night, and one of the good things that we were able to do the next night against them was we held them to, one of them didn't score from the field at all, and the other one only scored 3 baskets, so that was kind of how we go about preparing for these tournaments. We can't really prepare much for the second game until we see that team play. So that's kind of probably the same format this week. Hopefully it'll be as successful as we were last week.
Here we have head coach Lynn Plett of your UCCS women's basketball team. Hey, Coach, thank you for your time this morning.
No problem. Thanks.